Second. All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bahabakak, Wadash. I want to thank your double honors to the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. Salutations to the elect, Lord willing, with some of those men and women that believe and fear the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Shai, patiently waiting for the day of our salvation, the day of our redemption. Hey, I'm the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. Lord willing, this will be concise and not extremely long, but I want to go through this video just to point out some things. Then Elder Rakoya Plum from GMS Fear the Most High 7, he had posted up, he actually shared this video with bros in the Camp Edge chat. And I watched the whole video in its entirety, and I was a little mind blown because everything we say through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Shai, right? We say it through truth and truth and sincerity. And the way we break down what the mark of the beast is, with the exact way we were taught by the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone on what the MOTB is, the mark of the beast is, this guy right here, he goes into it. And he, I don't know if he's watching Great Millstone or not, but he goes into how the infrastructure is being set up, right, to forward this this mark, right? Now, obviously, he's Edomite, so he don't feel like it's truly represents the mark of the beast. That's what he was saying towards the end. But a lot of the stuff he brought out was on point, right? You see how the system is becoming more digital, right? And they're going to make it a digital prison via the RFID microchip, biometrics. What is it called? The digital, what's it called? The digital ID, roughly paraphrase. I cannot, for the life of me, I can't remember it right now. But the digital ID, that's what it is, right? And all of that's going to play in part. Then you have the social credit system, right? The same thing that they got over in China, they want over here in America. Trump said he want America to be like China, right? Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that clip. Trump said he wants America to be like China, right? Trump wants America to be like China, right? Yeah. Says, what did the U.S. get out of China trip? Because Trump just took a trip over to China. But I remember him saying that he wished America was more like China, right? And this man, and what is going on over in China? It's a digital prison, right? It's a digital China social. Let's ask this question real quick. What is China's social? Matter of fact, let's go to chat. Slock it, brothers. We're gonna go to Chat GPT. Ask, can you explain China's social credit system? And does America want to have a similar system, right? So it says so he is about to explain it, right? Just wait for it to load up. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it loads up. Won't take forever. But when you asking these questions to the chat, here it is. It says China's social credit system is real, right? But it's often misunderstood in Western media. It is not exactly one giant app giving every citizen a single score like an episode of Black Mirror. Instead, it is a broad government system that combines surveillance, legal enforcement, financial records, and blacklists to measure what the Chinese government considers trustworthiness. And America wants the same system, right? Sam, we're gonna watch this video right here. We're gonna go through it, and we're gonna bring some precepts out, and we're gonna bring a couple more videos out. I got a ton of videos. I had saved a bunch of videos, and I was going to try to make a video in itself and put all these videos in it. But the Spirit had it to where I just went live, right? So it says, what's China's social credit system does. The system is designed to track compliance with laws and regulations, and that's what they want in America. These new laws and regulations where they're going to isolate people in whatever area that you're at, cities, right? Every area you're at in the country, of rural areas, you ain't going to be able to go past that. If you break these limits, if you go over these limits, you're gonna be struck. If you speak against the system, you're gonna be struck. It said the system is designed to track compliance with laws and regulations, rewards trustworthy behavior, punish behavior the state sees as dishonest or disruptive. It applies to individuals, businesses, and government entities. Examples of behavior that can affect someone: failing to pay court judgments. Well, did not it says fraud or tax evasion. Well, you want to hear Aaron Russo say, if you owe taxes, they'll just take it out your chip, right? And really, what China is a beta test for the system that they're going to put on the whole world, right? So it says violating regulations, certain transportation violations. In some local pilot programs, things like public misconduct. Punishment can include restrictions on buying airline or train tickets. You ain't gonna be able to go from one city to the next, right? Difficulty getting loans, limits on business licenses, public blacklists, reduced access to some services. Rewards can include faster approval process, easier access to loans, better business opportunities. A key point: there is not currently one unified national score for every citizen. China instead uses many databases, regional systems, and blacklists connected to courts, banks, regulators, and local governments. China's government says the goal is to increase trust, reduce fraud, and improve social order, which their government is a fraudulent government. Everything they do is on a fraud, but they want to put their people in slavery, right? Via these restrictions. Critics argue it greatly increases state surveillance, and we're going to get into this video. It's going to show you America is being set up for state surveillance and government control over citizens' lives. You will have nothing and you will be happy, right? Does America want a similar system? The United States does not officially have a Chinese-style social credit system, and there is no announced national plan to create one. However, many Americans point out that the U.S. already has pieces of systems that resemble aspects of it, such as your credit score, your banking risk ratings, insurance risk scoring, social media moderation, digital surveillance, facial recognition in some cities, government watch list, no-fly list, terror watch list, ESG, and reputation scoring in some corporate settings. The major difference is in China, these systems are more centralized and tied directly to the state Communist Party government, and that's what they want to do in America. In America, they are more fragmented between private companies, banks, tech firms, and separate government agencies, but these organizations are coming together underneath Nero 42 or Nero 45, right? It says some people are concerned that expanding central bank digital currencies, digital IDs, AI surveillance, cashless payment system, you're going to be seeing this a lot, cashless payment systems, right, could eventually move the U.S. closer to a system where financial access and social behavior become more tightly monitored. Others argue that those technologies are mainly for fraud prevention, faster payments, national security, and financial modernization. So there is a major debate in America. Critics fear loss of privacy and freedom, which we got the video from Joe Biden when he was confirming, when they were confirming what's his name, Justice Roberts. When they were confirming Justice Roberts, like it was 2012 or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Joe Biden, he told Justice Roberts Let me show you the file. And then you got other states. You got states that are making their own state legislation to ban putting a ban on human microchipping. Then you got this is the video I was talking about right here. Okay.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that. And Judge, I need to know whether you will be a justice who believes that the constitutional journey must continue to speak to these consequential decisions, or
so he basically want to make sure that he's going to rule for it, and they are going to rule for it. They are going to say that. It says Biden and will be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? That's actual discussion about. There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that. Mark my words before your tenure is over. Right. So he's in Justice Roberts is in. He's a chief justice. He's in there, and what this question is going to come up because the legality of it always comes up, particularly the privacy aspect. And they're going to say no, it doesn't violate privacy. It's for the new monetary system or whatever's going on. Right, the pandemic, whatever they got going on, and they're gonna usher in this new system, right? And they've been planning this for decades, man. Right? How we know they've been planning this for decades? Check this out. This is another one. This is from NBC in 2007. Right? This is from 2007. The NBC RFID implant microchip everything 2017. Mark of the beast 666.
Here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes.
And that's all goes back to biometric digital identification.
With more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question. Am I who I say I am?
Already fingerprints.
That's the big question today. Are you who you say you are? They let fraud run rampant, and they let these people steal identifications and identity, social security numbers are compromised, all of this shit, and then people don't know who is who.
And iris scans verify passenger identities at airports. Within 10 years, that technology may be even more widespread. And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. Today's facial recognition software starts with the eyes. Then it maps out the contours of the face and compares that against a database of millions, a database that's growing by the day. What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology.
Yep, he said to free us what? Of our wallets and keys. Let's listen to that again.
If that's what people technology of our wallets and keys.
I
think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology.
It's possible to free you of your wallets and keys using biometric technology.
If that's what people want.
And it's not about what people want. It's what the government wants.
Yes,
the government meaning the banking elites.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
Yeah, you see? And that's and you see she put that right hand up. She put that right hand up. She said you don't need nothing except your hand, and you already got that with you. Now people will say, oh, you conspiracy theory, you just looking all into it. But it all makes sense. Why would they put her up here, the Jake woman, and then she does this?
Need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
She put that right hand up, and she said you already got it with you. You don't need nothing but your hand.
So will future department stores scan our irises, like in the movie Minority Report, then offer products catered to who we are?
Hello,
They,
Mr. Young.
they do that now via social media or even your cell phone. Once you have a conversation about a particular item or thing, it pops up in your advertisement randomly. If you look at something too long, it'll keep popping up. You look up something on Google, and next thing you know, you on Instagram, and everything that you just looked up on Google is being there advertised for you.
Nakamoto, welcome back to the Gap.
Experts say that technology is here now. The challenge is to safeguard our privacy in a brave new world. Tom Costello, NBC News, Alexandria, Virginia.
And this was 2000. That was 2007.
10 years' time.
And I have been looking for this video for a long time, and the Spirit Yahweh Shai allowed me to find it. Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls them all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And Esau's number here in this world is 666. He loves that number. It's everywhere. It's embedded in everything, from the barcode to advertisements, right, to logos, right? That numerology that he uses is heavy. So this video right here, what they were talking about in 2017, they're already on the move right now in 2026. What that was like shit, almost 20 years ago, right? 2007. And that was spiritual too, because that's when the apostles came on the YouTube and really start spreading the word, really start spreading across the world. So they've been planning on doing this, right?
So some people believe that everything that's happening in the world right now,
Hopefully it'll play,
was actually predicted. So some people believe that everything that's happening in the world right now was actually predicted thousands of years ago. There's a passage in the Bible.
And it is. The scripture says what? The things that are written beforehand are written for our learning, right? There's another scripture that says these things were before these things. You're going to know that these things were written beforehand. Let me see if I find that first, and then I'll get the other precept where it says for our learning. Matter of fact, I believe it's
state lawmakers are.
Salaki. I believe it's Second Esdras chapter 9. Right, Second Esdras chapter 9. Right here. Yeah, let me just read it right here. I'll start at 1. Second Esdras 9 and 1. And he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And this is what we're measuring the time via prophecy. Now, back in the 90s, back in the 80s, they've been wanting to do this. They were talking about it. There was discussions. There was inventions brought up. But now we in that time where the whole system is being turned into a digital all system, right? A highly digitized system where your every move will be watched, because this man wants to be the most high, right? And that technology caught up with time, and now we here, right? It says, and this is how we know that the Lord is going to visit this place in which he made, because when that MOTV is pushed on the world mandatorily, Third World War is going to be breaking out, and Yahweh Shai is coming back, because he's not going to allow the elect to get chipped. Second Esdras 9 and 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So these things were written well before the beginning. And when the books were closed, these Edomites, they couldn't break this down, and they still can't break it down because it's closed to them, but it's open to us, and we see it. And now, not only us, the Lord pouring his spirit out on all people, and people are bringing it up. Now they're measuring it with the scriptures, right? Let me rewind this.
Written almost 2,000 years ago, Revelation 13, verse 17. It says, "A mark will be required, placed on your right hand or your forehead, and without that mark, you cannot buy and you cannot sell."
And that's the key aspect of it. It's a financial system, right? It has nothing to do with sin in all its forms. It's not an embargo. It's not sleeping with the white woman, right? It's not a picture of the white Christ. It's not a philosophy in your head and in your head and in your hand is the action. No, this is a real thing, man. Right? You can't buy nothing with sin. You can't buy nothing with Christianity or philosophy. Go ahead and go to Walmart and say, look, man, I got some philosophy. You know, man, I got some sins racked up. Can I get this chicken? They're like, hell no, man. You got cash, you got tap. We take Apple Pay, we take Samsung Pay. You know what I'm saying? We take Chime, we take which is shit called Cash App, and money, physical money, the credit or debits. And that's the same thing in this system. That's why this system has got the people wrapped up in buying and selling. Everything is about buying and selling. Everything is about commerce, right? How much, let's ask this question real quick. How much of the average American citizen's life revolve around buying and selling? Right? Let's ask this question. It says, listen to this. An American's life revolves heavily around buying and selling, with consumer spending accounting for about 70% of the U.S. gross domestic product. Economically and psychologically, commerce dictates how the average citizen earns, budgets, and spends nearly every waking hour. So your whole life, our whole lives are wrapped around commerce, buying and selling. And this is another reason why this is a key aspect of the MOTB, because they're going to create a new money system, right? Using this RFID microchip and the B system, the whole setup, right? The eyes in the sky, right? Everything you do is going to be highly monitored. This man wants to be the Most High. He wants to see everything. He wants to dictate how many farts you have. If you lay down with your woman and have sex, how many times you breathe, all of that. And he want to charge you for it. He want to charge you for everything. He want to charge you for air, water. That's why Klaus Schwab said you will have nothing and be happy. Those words came out of his mouth. Because in a new system, no one's going to have anything unless you're part of the ruling class, right? Mainly the elite banking families. Everybody else is just going to be poor. Now you're going to have some people that work for the system, right? They're going to have a little bit more, but the scripture says what he calls them all, both small and great, what? Rich and poor. So your athletes, your celebrities, your businessmen, they're going to have to take the chip too. The poor, they're going to have to take the chip free and bond. Doesn't matter if you're a slave or if you're locked up. I mean, if you're a so-called free slave or a bondman, whether you're in the military or in prison, he's going to make you receive that mark. That's the new system, right?
This is called the mark of the beast. And for most of human history, people assumed that this was just a metaphor from the Bible, kind of symbolic message that ancient texts used to describe power and controls in ways that people could visualize at that time, because obviously nobody could imagine the technology that would make this possible today. But if you're paying attention to the world,
that's lucky. These things were shown to the prophets. Now they had to put it in words that they could only convey during their time. What you doing? Down. Salaki, brother. Over there. Go sit down. Right here. Okay. Salaki about that, brothers. My dog. So they had to convey the things in their time. They couldn't give you the exact words today, because if America was written in the scriptures, if things were really spelled out so that the average person can understand it, nobody would have access to the Bible. It would be the most classified document on the planet Earth. if Esau had his way.
And everything that's going on today, it almost people could visualize at that time, because obviously nobody could imagine the technology that would make this possible today. But if you're paying attention to the world and everything that's going on today, it almost seems like everything we're watching is part of some manufactured crisis, a transition in human history with a new opportunity to centralize power.
We are now moving from the industrial age to the intelligent age. We are living in the transition to a new time, which will change everything. It will change how we communicate, how we work.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Salakia, brothers. Let's do it. Look at this.
How we communicate.
Look at that hand. That's that hand. Biometrics right here. That right hand again.
How we work, how we live. But now in this new age, the base will be knowledge, data, and intelligent insights.
Now, in the modern world, people call this prophecy the digital control grid.
And it is. It's a digital control grid. It's all about control. Everything that this man is doing is he's trying to control. He's trying to manufacture a pseudo blessing. He wants to control everybody and put everybody in slavery. How do we know that? Well, this was an insider, Aaron Russo, and he was a friend to.
He was one of the Rockefeller.
He was a friend to Nick Rockefeller. He used to be a movie producer. He's passed away now, right? And he actually brought it out.
Family, and he could do it, and then they could do it again. Pay these people interest, theft or fraud. It doesn't have anything to do with any country, you know. A lot of research, and so then when they instituted the income tax, goals of the banking industry, not just the Federal Reserve System, but the private banks in Germany and England, all over Italy, all over the world, they all work together. They're all central banks.
Yeah, when they work for the super elites.
And they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. You know, central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time, we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there, you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is
Nick Rockefeller put him onto a lot of stuff. He was courting him to be part of the Council of Foreign Relations, the CFR. And he declined to do it. But before then, Nick Rockefeller was telling him all the stuff that they plan on doing. All your celebrities know that this is coming. All these elite politicians and all of these elite businessmen in America and around the world, they know that this is coming. And they're getting prepared for it. But it ain't gonna come overnight. It's gonna be a lot of hell gonna break loose. The financial system has to be broken down. There has to be an excuse to bring it. They did a test in 2020 with the 19, right? And they'll do another one. And this time it's gonna be even more severe. And they're gonna push everything towards this digital identification, ultimately the MOTB, the RFID microchip. This is what they want. So this guy right here, the digital control grid, it's all this guy was right. Hold on,
they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip, and you have nothing.
Exactly, and that's digital control. That's digital control, and they've been gradually pushing this RFID microchip towards the people. They even got commercials for it. A RFID microchip health commercial, bro. Right? Very chip. Right? Sure, brothers familiar with very chip. There's like agency on the ball marketing. Right? Check this out.
To think something so small can connect you
to everything that matters.
To think something so small can connect you.
That's 666.
To everything that matters. To everything that matters.
To think
this is 666 right here. Right here. It's all symbolism. It's all, they all tapped in.
Something so small can connect you
to everything that matters.
Something so small can connect you to everything that matters.
When your life and all you love are on the line.
HealthLink is always with you when every second counts in the emergency room, providing immediate access to your medical records.
Yep, so this is a digital ID, knowing who you are, right? Then they give you that number. They give you that number that goes with it. Similar to like your social security number, right? They give you this number, your ID number. And this is what's going to connect you to the B system, right? And people are going to get it because they're going to think that this is the way out of all the hell that's breaking loose. Well, we just need to be a part of the system. We got to eat. Like Johanna said, General Johanna said, well, you say you're going to take the chip and he's going to take the chip because you got to eat. Your family got to eat. That's what he said. These people out here, they're gonna be hoodwinked into doing this through a major crisis.
Providing immediate access to your medical records.
Because Bob has trouble remembering all his medications.
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because my car lost control while driving.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
So the chip supposed to help you with your diabetes? Okay.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.
You see? You know what I'm saying? And that damn devil, right? Let's go back to this. It's here, but you got people like Nate. It ain't here. Ain't no microchip. It's June. All right, nigga.
And I know how it sounds conspiratorial, but I want to show you some things that are actually happening right now. In 2025, a company co-founded by Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, started deploying a device called the Orb. It's a silver sphere about the size of a bowling ball, and what it does is it scans the iris of your eye to get what's called your biometric signature. It's the one thing about your body that's completely unique to you and can never be changed. Now, in exchange for that scan, you will get something called a World ID, which is a digital proof that you are a real human being. As of right now, over 18 million people have already done this voluntarily. Why would they do that? It's because in a world of AI and robots, how do you prove you're actually a real person? This is how. The World ID is now being integrated into apps like Tinder, DocuSign, Zoom, Shopify, and dozens of other platforms. Sam Altman has said that proof of human will eventually be required by every website, every app, every transaction on the internet.
People are really going to need this and really going to need to do this in a privacy-preserving way. So World ID is our effort at that. And our goal is to make World ID be this new proof of human for the internet.
At the same time, the United States passed something called the Genius Act. which is a law that creates the legal framework for stablecoins, aka digital dollars.
Yep.
And what makes a stablecoin different from the cash in your bank account is that it can be programmed. It can be given rules.
Yeah, that's right. It can be programmed. It's programmed money. It's part of the CBDC system, right? There was a World Bank. I know the brother Kahan, he found it some time ago. We did a lesson, and it was a World Banker. He was speaking on there was a World Banker speaking on a chip, like a World Banker. He was like an Argentinian banker. So it's this overweight guy, this World Banker from Argentina. He was speaking about the MOTB and how a restricted money, can be useful. I can't find this guy. World Banker on programmable money, right? Yeah, it's a lot. I can't find the guy, but I remember who he looked like. He was an overweight guy, and he was speaking about how programmed money is useful. Let me play this real quick. Hold on.
So we need to oppose the introduction of CBDCs, and of course, it's not just that. What I mentioned, it's much worse because it's a programmable control tool, and the programmability is really scary.
Instant compliance.
And they have said this. Central bankers have said this, that they can then write the rules, and they have the technology to enforce those rules.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen with CBDC. So it's not really money; it's potential money. You have to apply. May I please use it to buy X, Y, Z? Oh, sorry, your carbon footprint has been used up, or whatever the excuse may be. You're outside the 15 minutes. Or
you see, it's all about control, right? The whole system is set up to control you, right? Reprogrammable money, because the guy said that we don't know who's spending $100 or who's spending $1, right? We don't know who's spending $100, or $1, right? And these niggas, I'm just looking to see if I can find a guy. Right, programmable money. This is a big talking point out here, right? And a lot of people, you got this woman right here, she's always been, she's trying to stop it, but in reality, there's nothing she can do. The system is already set up to go that way, but she's an insider. And she's telling you, it is this guy right here. The Wadi Habashim Shot. Check this guy out. This guy right here. This guy right here.
Central bank will have absolute control.
In this episode,
the key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is. The key difference with the CBDC.
What cash is. This same guy, I cannot find his name. I don't know.
In this episode.
The key difference with the CBDC.
But it was that guy that we just saw, the big fat guy. He was the one that said it. He said that implant, like this guy right here. I can't find him. I wish I could find it, what his name was. I probably can run it through the chat and figure it out. But this guy right here, embracing the currency. Speaker Augustine.
The key difference with the CBDC.
I'm just trying to look them up on YouTube. And bear with me, brothers. I know this is a lot. It's a lot of information to take at one time, but we're here, man. We're here. All right, this is it. Yeah, this guy, he was talking about a chip, making international settlements. This big guy, this dude is huge, this bulbous monster, right? The benefits of CBDC. Yeah, here it is right here. Check this out.
All our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control.
Yeah, it's going to be restricted money. You can only buy what they say you can buy. It's going to be a ration system. You can only go where they say you can go. Your money can only take you but so far in the new system.
On the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability, and also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
Yeah, what cash is, right? And that's when he let me see. He mentioned the RFID chip. And it's about absolute control. Absolute control. The future of finance. All right. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all just bear with me. I'm just trying to get his name. So it says, Augustine Gentleman, blah, blah, blah. Manager has never mentioned, proposed, or supported the use of RFID microchips to track, control the public. The rumor stems from a widespread debunked misinterpretation of his statements regarding the central bank currencies. The controversy originates from a speech in Carson gave in 2020 on the future of cross-border payments. During his remarks, he contrasted physical cash with digital currency, stating that, for example, in cash, we don't know who's using a $100 bill today or a $1,000 peso. He explained that CBDCs could give central banks absolute control over the rules and regulations governing the use of central bank money and the technological ability to enforce it. Independent fact checking. He did mention that. I heard him mention it. They concluded that this explanation about architecture of digital currencies was falsely conflated by commentators with an unrelated technology like subliminal microchips and physical tracking, right? But he did. I did hear him say it. So the point of the matter is, this is high level. In the World Bank, they don't deal with individuals like you and I, right? They deal with countries and nations, right? That's how they deal with banks, right? And in the banks, they make the controls, and in the smaller banks, all they do is just follow the course. In a new system, they don't want anybody to have. There's no more individuality in the system. There's no more black market in the system. There's no more miscounting, right? Misrepresentation of money in the system, right? In a new system, you're not going to be able to have a under the table job, right? You ain't going to be able to do that. You're going because everything's going to be dictated and followed, right? Right. And shalom to the brother. All you brothers on comment board, 12 tribes of Israel. Shalom, brother. So let me play this.
Rules about where it can be spent, on what, and when it expires. And what makes a stablecoin different from the cash in your bank account is that it can be programmed. It can be given rules. Rules about where it can be spent, on what, and when it expires, and whether it works outside a certain area.
And it's not going to work outside a certain, your money is going to expire. Like until today, you could save money in your little bank account or put it up. But in the new system, you ain't going to be able to do that. You're going to have to spend that money on the things that you're allowed to spend it on that month. It's not going to roll over. It's basically a digital EBT system, right? Whereas the EBT system, it kind of rolls over. But in the new system, your money ain't going to roll over. And you're going to be restricted to areas, 15-minute cities, right? You ain't going to be able to go gallivanting across the world doing what you want to do, right? This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Right? Well, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Sedition is speech inciting you to go against the authority, whether that's a government or a leadership, something, right? And it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? Not because just of the unrest, but even because it's a new system. So wherever you at, that's where you're going to be at. That's where you stuck at. You ain't going to be able to go from New York City to LA. You ain't going to be able to do that because you may not have enough chip money, digital dollars, right? Stable coins, right? You might have used up your carbon footprint for that month. Now you got to wait. Everything is going to be highly restricted in this new system. This is what they want. This is total control.
The World Economic Forum is also now arguing that water, soil, and even the air we breathe needs to be assigned a financial value. It needs to have a price, and it needs to be measured.
Now we need to put the economics of water, not only in terms of monetary values, but also in terms of governance, in terms of recognizing water as a commons that we now need to manage as a broad.
So this man, he wants the 666 again. You see it right here, 666. This man wants to charge you for something that the Lord created for free. Everybody needs water to live, but they're going to tell you who can get it, who can't get it, who's going to get the best water, who's going to get the worst water, how much you can drink a day, right? This is real, man. They already charging you water bills, but now they want to make water a currency, right?
Systems approach.
If we're going to protect natural systems, one of the solutions is to bring nature onto the balance sheet, to bring nature into the ways that decisions are made within business, to allocate a value to it and to bring it into accounting and financial mechanisms.
Basically means the air and water should not be freely accessible. They should be a financial asset.
And while all these things are for the use of man, you know what I'm saying? The use of men, and they charge you for it. These motherfuckers charge you for it, man. Yeah, this man's a devil, man. Yep, this is Sirach 39 verse 26. The principal things for the whole use of a man's life are water. So you need these things: fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, which is wine, and oil and clothing. Right? All these things are what? All these things are good to the godly. So to the sinner, they are turned evil. So to Esau, he's a man of sin. He thinks it's evil to have these things readily available for man's usage of life. You got to pay for it. You got to come through him. He wants you to come to him like he's the most high. And that's where you get worshiping the beast system. You going to him, trying to seek some type of reprieve and some type of sustenance, man. When all these things come from the Lord. Who the hell is Esau? Right? You just a man. I just want to read this in the G&T. Sirach 39 and 27 in the G&T. Sirach 39 and 27 in the G&T. right? It says all these things are good for those who are devout. Matter of fact, verse 26, the basic needs of life are these: water. So you need water. It's a basic need. Fire, whether to cook, to stay warm. Iron, right? Salt, flour, honey, milk, wine, clothing, and oil. All these things are good for those who are devout, but they turn into evil for sinners, man. You see? This is where we at. And this man wants to commodify the natural resources, man. He already did it, but now he wants to go overboard. He wants to take it to the point where you got to pay to breathe. So what? You ain't got enough money on your chip for the month. What, you supposed to die? You supposed to get less oxygen? You need oxygen for the brain. Your brain can't go without oxygen for more than 3 minutes, man. And by the time it hit 3 minutes, you're already brain dead. You're done. You're cooked. Right? This man's a devil, bro.
All of this is happening. There's been a huge build out of cameras, satellites, cell towers.
The ways that decisions are made within business, to allocate a value to it and to bring it into accounting and financial mechanisms.
Basically means the air and water should not be freely accessible. They should be a financial asset. And while all of this is happening, there's been a huge build out of cameras, satellites, cell towers, and AI data centers in communities all across the world. Now, some of this framework was brought to light by Catherine Austin Fitts, who used to be the Assistant Secretary of Housing under President Bush. And she talks about a specific plan of how this is going to look like. She says that there's 3 parts that are being built that have never existed before in human history.
So there are 3 sort of pillars that I track. One is the programmable money, and that's what we at Solari are trying to stop.
You're not going to stop it, because whether Catherine Fitts is just an insider who's just trying to play the opposite side, they're not going to stop that. That's what they want. That's what the Most High wants. How about that? Yeah, how about Shai put it on these devil spirits to do the things that they're doing, because he don't want 2/3 of his people, right? They're not coming out of America. They're going to be destroyed here. And they love this world. You love the man so much, you're going to die with him. How about that?
Second is the digital ID, because you need digital ID systems that are interoperable globally, and then the local hardware. And those are sort of the 3 pillars.
Programmable money, the global digital identity system, and the surveillance hardware to enforce both of those systems.
Yep.
And she says that when all 3 are complete, the people who control that system, aka the central planners, those people,
which is not, these people don't own it. You got the fucking where's this dude? Joe Biden, Leonardo DiCaprio. You got actors and politicians. These are all people that are tapped in to the system, right? They're part of the Council on Foreign Relations. They're part of the insiders. That's what they are. They speak to the people through movies, politicians, policy, legislation, all of that shit. And these people, they worship the beast. They're part of the system.
People will not need laws to influence society. They're not going to need the police or the courts. If they want you to do something, and for some reason you're not doing it, they'll just turn off some important aspect of our lives.
And did not, my man, Aaron Russo said
it. So instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
It is.
And you have nothing.
You turn off your chip and you have nothing. So 2 different videos at a separate time and in decades separated apart. Now it's coming to fruition. The system is built. Now they're going to need the right catastrophe, cataclysmic events. They even going to give you a false alien invasion, right? To try to make you think that the angels are some Edomites or some beast, some animal or something, right? This man is a devil, bro. But this is where his system. We're not going to get caught up in this, right? We're not. The Lord's going to keep us from this. This is the book of Revelation. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 10. Might be 9. Note 10. Because thou hast kept, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. The hour of temptation is that MOTB, which shall come upon all the world. This is the oikumene sense, to try them that dwell upon the earth. So Yahweh Shai is going to keep us from this. We're going to be tried, but we're going to overcome through Yahweh Shai. We got the answer. The answer is not trying to take the system down and fight against it and march and all this other shit. That shit don't do nothing. The answer is in Yahweh Shai. But this is proof that the MOTB system is here. It is here, man. They building all these, he goes into the data centers and all of that.
Whether it's the money we use, the IDs we need, or they could just restrict our ability to buy and sell or travel somewhere unless we comply.
My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services.
Yep.
That's why some people believe that this was a prophecy that came from the Bible.
It is a prophecy. He's speaking sarcastically, but it is a prophecy. All these things are written. We come in the spirit of prophecy, right? Revelation 19 and 10, right? And it says, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is what? The spirit of prophecy. That's what's in this book. It's not given to everybody. That's why people are sarcastic about it. They're doubtful about it because they don't have the truth. And when the truth is being disseminated unto you, you get mad at who's giving it to you. You get mad at the messenger, but you don't hear the message. This thing is diabolical, man. And we actually live in and see it.
So in this video, I want to talk about what's being built, how this affects the investment markets, and what's going to happen to the idea of money itself. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the mark of the beast. Okay, I want to start this video.
Come for the finance and stay for the mark of the beast. We ain't getting no mark of the beast. Fuck that.
With a little preface. I'm not saying that a digital ID is automatically evil. I'm not saying that a digital dollar is the end of freedom. I'm not even saying that Sam Altman is some bad guy building the mark of the beast. Any one of these things on their own, you could argue, has a reasonably good explanation. Like a digital ID is really convenient. I've lost my ID so many times before, it'd be nice just to have it on my phone.
Well, that's the reason. That's another thing. Convenience. He gonna cause you by any means necessary. Convenience, necessity. Same thing they did with the juice.
Programmable money could lower the risk of fraud. That's also nice. And cameras can make neighborhoods safer. These are all genuinely true and good reasons, but here's the thing. They're all being built together at the same time by connected institutions that'll be managed by a system that has never existed before. And it's the combination of them that allows for the centralization of power in a way that was never possible in here.
Because that's what the bankers want, power. They gave you funny money to play with. They gave you coupons to exchange for shit in the world while they took the real resources and hoarded all the gold, the silver, the people, everything unto themselves. And now they want power over the people because they don't have power over the people in the way that they want. How they want it. They want it like the Most High. They want that kind of power. And they think they're going to get it through their technology. Right, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, right, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Who's the man of sin? Esau, Edom. Starting with them banking elite families, man. The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Oppenheimers, Gettys, DuPont, Lungos, all them people. People that you don't even know about. But they set up these puppet leaders and puppet businessmen to have you really believing that these niggas that smart and they working together. No, they working for the elite who opposes all and exalting himself above that is called the Most High. And that's what Esau does. He's opposing the Most High. He exalts himself. above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship, so that he, as the Most High, sit up in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is God. This man thinks that he is a God. Did not know Yuval Harari. He said that the people that own the algorithm are the ones that's going to be transformed, not 99% of the people. Right? Who owns the algorithm? The elites. He will exalt in the NLT. He will exalt himself and defy everything that people call God and every object of worship. He will even sit in the temple of the Most High, claiming that he himself is God. They did it with the imagery. Now they're doing it with the technology. You see? It's all about just what they want. It's power. G. Edward Griffin said that in that movie, in that documentary, The Capitalist Conspiracy, man.
Human history. Now, here's something that's going to blow your mind. One of the main companies that's going to be building the surveillance and data infrastructure for this system is called Palantir. You've probably heard of it.
Palantir is here to disrupt
this drug addict right here, this fiend. They had you thinking that this nigga is so smart that he just created this system out of his brain, bugged out, looking all crazy. He's playing a role anyway. This crackhead, this meth addict, right? Ketamine demon. Nah, he didn't come up with this, and neither did his partners. It was Esau Edom, the super elite, and they're using these guys.
and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
Check out Palantir shares surging 22% after the company cited a boom in demand for its AI software from the U.S. government.
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am.
There's been a lot of videos about this company, and people that invested in this stock a couple of years ago made a lot of money. But what does Palantir actually do? Palantir is a data analytics company founded by Peter Thiel, and it works mostly with governments, intelligence agencies, and militaries around the world. Now, maybe you knew that, but what you might not have known is what Palantir means.
In Lord of the Rings, the Palantir Stone is a magical object that allows its users to predict the future or to see what's going on in a remote location.
It was originally created by the elves. It was meant to be used
witchcraft. It's nothing but witchcraft.
For good purposes. It is potentially a very dangerous technology. It's very powerful.
The name comes from J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And in that story, the Palantiri are ancient seeing stones, and they let whoever holds them see anything, anywhere, at any time. They are the all-seeing eyes.
It's their version of the Urim and the Thummim, right? These devils. And remember, he said it's an all-seeing eye, which goes back to the Illuminati.
Of Middle Earth. And in that story, Sauron uses them, not just to watch, but to manipulate Middle Earth, to show people only what he wants them to see. What is that in the modern day? That's the algorithm. To make people believe things that aren't necessarily true. It feeds people their worst impulses and fears. Now, I'm not saying this is a prophecy of the Bible, but I am saying that symbolism like this doesn't happen by accident. And having said all that, let me explain how all of this is going to work. Catherine Austin Fitts says that this system is made up of 3 different parts. And I think the easiest way to understand the digital control grid is to look at each one of them separately. And then I want to show you how they all connect. The first pillar is programmable money, which they say is needed in a world where AI will replace all the jobs.
Yeah, like they're going to be universal high income. Everybody's going to have a Michelin chef. Yeah, right. You ain't getting no fucking Michelin chef. You ain't going to have no money. You're going to be restricted. They really go. You think Jake impoverished now? If you still alive when this thing goes live, you're never going to have anything. Don't even think about it. You couldn't even bounce your way out of a basketball court. You can't bounce your way out the ghetto. You ain't going to be able to run your way out the ghetto. You ain't going to be able to catch a football out the ghetto. That's how bad it's going to be, bro.
The second pillar is a global digital identity system. And the third pillar is the cameras that are going to watch everything we do. Now, if we
cameras act as they're angels, that digital identity is to identify you, that digital money is to control you.
Fast forward to today, 2026, all 3 of these pillars are either already built or they're in the process. So let me explain the first part of this story, which is money. And speaking of money, our digital identity and our data is being money. And I want to start with something really basic. Right now, the dollar in your bank account is just a number. It has no rules attached to it. You can spend it on whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, for the most part. You can give it to whoever you want as well. And the bank might ask questions if you move a big amount. But
yeah, in the new system, you can't get nobody no money.
Fundamentally, the money is yours and it's what's called neutral. It doesn't care what you spend it on. Programmable money is different because that money comes with conditions fused into the currency itself. So imagine you get a paycheck and it's only valid for a certain amount of time before it expires. Or it can only be spent within your state. Or it can't be used to buy certain things, maybe a certain cryptocurrency, or meat because of a carbon policy, or energy is just too expensive. Now, I'm not saying that these specific rules are coming tomorrow.
But they're coming.
I'm just saying that the technology to do all of this already exists, and the legal framework to deploy it is being built right now. In the United States, for example, the Genius Act was passed in 2025. That law created the official regulatory framework for stablecoins, aka digital dollars issued on a blockchain. Now, Catherine Austin Fitts points out that buried inside the Genius Act is a requirement that all stablecoin issuers must connect to a Treasury Department pipe, one that applies KYC, know your customer rules, and anti-money laundering rules, and sanctions enforcement. And once this connection exists, it can be integrated with anything, including a social credit system. What's a social?
It is.
Social credit system, right? A social credit system is basically a score that gets assigned to you based on your behavior.
And don't think that racism is not going to play a high role in this. It's going to be bad, bro.
It's going to measure things like, did you pay your bills on time? Score goes up. Did you jaywalk or post something critical of the government online or associate with someone that the system flagged as a problem? Score goes down. And your score determines what you'll be allowed to do. A high score means you get access to better loans, faster travel, more opportunities. A low score means you can't buy a plane ticket. You can't get certain jobs. This is
a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to.
Already a proven model in China.
Once you're blacklisted, you can no longer get a bank loan, start a business, buy an apartment, or even send your children to a private school.
In fact, over 30 million flights and train trips were blocked in a single year because of this system. They want you, quote, on your best behavior.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Now, the stablecoin companies say that
slavery. So I'm not going to continue all of this, brothers. I'll post this video in the chat. You brothers can watch it. It's really, really good. I don't want to keep brothers up this late. You know what I'm saying? But the mark of the beast is here. I had something in the chat GBT. I was asking some questions, but it's all good. You know, we pretty much hit the point. You know what I'm saying? All right. We hit the point. The mark of the beast system, the infrastructure is being set up in front of you as we speak, right? The MOTB, the mark of the beast, is the chip. Never once did this man mention sending all his forms. Never once did he mention Christianity. Never once did he mention sleeping with the white woman. Never once did he mention that it's a philosophy in your mind and the action in your right hand. He didn't mention none of that shit. None of that. Buying and selling means just that, buying and selling. And you ain't going to be able to do it in the new system unless you got the chip. And if you take the chip, judgment's going to come for you, right? You're going to be destroyed. Revelation 14:9. And the third angel followed them saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. And that's going to be that nuclear fire here in America. That's what that is, a nuclear fire. Right? Right in front of the Lamb, right in front of the angels, in the presence of the angels and the holy angels in the Lamb and the elect. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest nor day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, whosoever receives his mark of his name, which is that chip. Esau is not our God. Esau is not our power. All things come through Yahweh Shemi Hawashah. Right? We don't need to go to Esau for nothing. The Lord will provide. Or he'll make an Edomite give you something. And the Edomite probably hate you and still do it. Right? You see? So this is what we're talking about, bro. This is really real. The system is set up in front of you as we know it, you know. But Nate can't get it. He don't want to see it. Either that or he's sold out. You got people arguing about nonsensical shit, bringing up nonsensical arguments, talking about the Gentiles that make it and all this other shit. Man, that shit don't even matter because they're not making it, right? We need to be talking about prophecy, man. And as far as I know, the only group that speaks about prophecy are the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone and the brothers on them, and those that follow the same doctrine. That's it. Don't nobody else speak about it. The Christian church ain't gonna go into detail about it. Nate ain't gonna go into detail about it. Johanna ain't gonna go into detail about it. They may talk about things that's hinting towards it, but they don't hit it. And I'll end it off with that. Since I said about the chat, I went to chat and I asked this to chat, right? And I asked this question, asked series of questions. I asked what was IUIC's take on the Mark of the Beast, and what was Great Millstone's take on Mark of the Beast, right? It says, I'll see right here. IUIC's current rhetoric tends to emphasize the idea of submission to a system opposed to God's law, which Esau's whole system is opposed to the law of Yahweh Shah, while also acknowledging that the future economic technologies could become tools of coercion. So their modern message can sound more nuanced than simple. It is only symbolic position. One major difference still remains between IUIC and Great Millstone. GMS has been much more direct and consistent in identifying the mark with a literal implantable chip. IUIC has generally treated the mark more as allegiance, ideology, or participation in a corrupt system, even while discussing emerging financial technologies as possible components of prophecy. So we're the most consistent and we're the most direct because that's how we're supposed to be. Let your yea be yea be yea, your nay be nay. There's no gray area. And the apostles, the bishop elders and brothers on down, they haven't veered from this. They haven't changed their stance on it because it's the truth. And we see it happening. Okay. So yeah, brothers, I wanted to bring this out. You know, it was on my spirit to get it done. The Wadi Yahweh Shai. I hope that brothers are edified. If you're edified, you can post a 1 on the comment board. You know what I'm saying? If not, you can post a 2. Maybe I'll work harder to make sure you're edified. But this is a lot of information, but it could all be understood through the words and powers of Yahweh Shai. All right? All right. The water, brother. The water, brother. Water. The water. Water. And with that, we say Shalom, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Muhammad Dash, the Bwana to the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to the elect. Keep pushing, keep striving. We almost out of here. Hey, Shalom.